And welcome back to Jeff Koinange live on the road in Bomet County. What you saw just there was incredible. It was the funniest thing on TV. It's Jameni on KTN, and they make fun of just about everybody, like our governor today. And they laugh. Governor, just laugh. Just do a laugh for us. Or just say, "You're new pussy."
Watch a fitina.
Joining us with the governor is the Speaker of the County Assembly here in Bomet County, Jeffrey Kipngetich Korir. Did I get it right?
Yes.
Welcome, Speaker. It's good to see you. Young guy, man. How old are you?
I'm 32.
Governor. The youth.
Yes.
So, Governor's Twitter handle, @IsaacRutoGov. Jeffrey, yours? GK Korir.
Korir.
@GK Korir. Mine is @Koinange Jeff. The hashtag we're using tonight is JKL on the road. So, Governor, you don't mind people making fun of you, huh? You
I don't mind. I don't mind.
Yeah.
Yes.
You take it all well, huh?
Oh, yes. I can also make fun of them. So what's the issue?
So if the Deputy President says, Mkutano Maisha.
Yes. No hassle. Fair deal. Na inaweza kusha.
Yeah. Inaweza?
Yeah.
Ikiwa pussy or not?
Chochote chaweza tokea.
Bila. Speaker,
yes.
You don't always agree with your governor here, right? You're not always in agreement. Exactly. Go on, give us one example.
Yes. I think there are many instances where we don't agree with governor, because I think what I believe in is that the Constitution does not state clearly whether the Assembly, or actually the Constitution is very clear on the role of the executive and the role of the Assembly. I'm one believer who believes also is that each arm has been given specific roles. And of course, the executive will always want to have their way. Now, the big question that arises is, assuming what the executive is trying to bring to the Assembly does not comply with the law, does it mean you need to approve the way it is? And that is why one critical thing, why there is a county assembly, is for purposes of counter-checking what executive does.
Yeah. Okay, let me give you one example then. If you talk about accountability, a budget was submitted.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Which the county was supposed to debate, vote on, etc., etc.
Yes.
I understand the Speaker went and approved the budget on his own. You.
That is a wrong perception. That is the wrong, if there is anyone who is saying so, I think they need to get facts. First of all, we need to understand the budget process. The budget process starts in August, where the CC of Finance give out a circular on the budget. In September, there is an annual development plan, which is submitted to the County Assembly. In February, there is what we call County Fiscal Strategy paper, which is also submitted to the County Assembly, which needs to be passed within 14 days. By 30th April, you are supposed to give budget estimate. The Assembly, through the clerk, submits a budget estimate to the County Assembly. The CC submit the budget estimate of the executive. Then the Assembly passes, and then after that now, an appropriation bill is brought to the Assembly.
So you didn't pass this thing on your own? You didn't sign it?
There is nothing.
You think they're lying, these people who say this?
No, I think where there is a problem, and I think people have not been told the truth, is what happened after 30th June. Because the law, PFM Act, is very clear. You need to pass an appropriation bill by 30th June.
Governor, do you have a bill? Do you have a budget here right now? Do you have a budget?
Not quite. Reason being, I think we were at 30th June. All the others are okay. On 30th June, they passed an appropriations bill, which I could not agree to. First of all, they gave themselves more money than were availed by the CRA. The CRA gave them 446 million. They put in a figure much higher. They wanted 699 million. I didn't know where to get that money. They also brought in certain development aspects which we had not discussed with them, like spending about 148 million to construct a new assembly and the speaker's residence. I didn't agree with that. And the buildings, the perimeter wall, I also didn't agree with them. Because I thought the most important thing was for us to provide services to the people. His budget would put recurrent costs much higher than we in the assembly, in the executive, were willing to agree to. We wanted a ceiling, and indeed I didn't mention them that I want a ceiling of 10% on recurrent expenditure, O&M, 10%, 34% on the personal emoluments, and 55%, in fact 56% on development. His budget would bring O&M at 15%, PE at 40%, and would bring development down to 46%.
Speaker, is that true?
I think where they are forgetting, and I think this is where my governor here forgets that all this process started in September last year. First, whatever we are saying that we wanted as an assembly was in the county fiscal strategy paper.
Including the speaker's residence?
Everything.
Why do you need a residence? Why does the speaker need a residence?
It is not an issue of the speaker needs a resident. It is an issue of one, SRC stated clearly that why are you paying rent and yet you can acquire at least a house, not only the speaker, including governor here.
Does the governor have a residence?
Of course, he has built, he has used state resources to at least make his home. Anyway,
how much is that house?
Let me finish.
How much is that house?
Let me finish. Excuse me.
I think that is actionable. Yes, it's actionable.
Let me finish. One.
I think that is actionable.
Okay, Governor, go.
Okay.
First of all,
Wait.
I'm living in my house, which is about 21 kilometers away from here.
Is it in Bomet?
I built that house while I was in Parliament. Yes, in Bomet, in Chepalungu, where I live. And the point here is, I have not built a residence for myself as a governor. I even don't get rent for where I stay right now. We are only building offices using what was allocated for that function by the Transition Authority, 61 million, nothing else. The point here is our priorities must be right. Now, notwithstanding the procedure all along and the houses he needs, the governor has the power to object to a budget and give a memorandum to the assembly, which I did within 7 days. And they were supposed to vote on it. They failed to vote on it. He decided to make a ruling on his own. When he made a ruling outlawing the assembly from voting, that's where the problem came in. Because if they had voted and overruled me, I would have reason to think again. But they did not. So they decided to make a ruling because they could not get the 2/3 numbers that were required to overrule the governor. So he decided to make a ruling. When you make a ruling, that is wrong. There is no provision in law for the speaker to make a ruling on the governor's memorandum. There are only two things you can do. You can submit it to the assembly to vote to agree or to disagree.
Speaker, so you went above and beyond.
Now, this is where now we are having courts to interpret this thing. First, there are two critical things that you need to note. First of all, Appropriation Act is not like any other law. This is a special bill in itself. There are two things that you need to learn, that Section 24, which is saying that governor has powers to return a memorandum. That one I agree with him 100%. But there is Section 4 of PFM Act, which states clearly, you see, the difference between Appropriation Act and all these other acts is very clear. Does governor has powers to alter all these other process? Remember, there was public participation in county fiscal strategy paper. There was public participation in annual development plan. There was public participation in budget estimates. Now, where we are in a very serious quagmire is the situation where governor wakes up one day and changes everything the way he thinks. He can just wake up and says all the money will go to this direction.
No.
Does that needs to be challenged or not? And this is the old situation.
Do you agree, folks? Do you agree? You're saying he's a dictator.
Let me finish.
No, I'm asking you a
First,
question. You think he's a dictator?
Of course, Governor, it is in his nature. Because it is in his nature. And,
To be a
and
dictator.
You cannot blame him. You cannot blame him.
Governor, they just called you a dictator.
No, forget about that. The issue is, let's look at the issues about the budget. I did object because in my fiscal strategy paper, I mentioned that in the medium term, and even the CRA have written to us. It is even agreed at the IBEC that we must sustain 35% SPE, and we must put more money in development. In our county, I wanted to go to 55%. The first year we had 46, and then we pushed it to 48. I expected to go to 55%. But now, if we were to invest in issues that are not directly beneficial to the people, then we will definitely misallocate the funds. So I objected to that, and I told them that this is the ceiling. We intend to go, and it is in the fiscal strategy paper, and it is in all the papers. And then I indicated that this has to be readjusted. I also mentioned to them that they had to take into consideration the fact that CARA had just been passed by the Senate, and it had indicated an extra 100 million for this county. Therefore, add that money into the rest of the budget.
Governor, what's the solution? You are
Let me first say,
now.
he mentioned section 24. The courts have ruled that the speaker doesn't have such powers. The courts have ruled.
I've not seen where.
The courts have ruled,
Which
and they have told them that he cannot. The bill he purported to have passed is not valid. Isn't that true?
Is that what the court said?
I think I hope Governor had gotten a full brief from his legal team.
No.
What the court said is very basic.
It. I don't hardly need
Very basic. What the court said. what the court said.
Hey, relax.
What the court said, that issue is still pending. There was an application, and there is an ongoing case. So what the court said is, for now, let's suspend, because I think the prayers which Governor was seeking was suspension of the act. And there are two critical things that we need to note. The CARA Act that is saying, Bomet County Assembly was given 489 million, above 446 million from what CRA had given. Because everybody is entitled, after CRA has given you a ceiling, you approach the Senate, and the Senate in this matter has the final say.
Okay.
What we were seeking was 523 million, but they told us no. The only thing that you can justify is 489 million.
Are you going to get a budget anytime soon? Answer that question.
I think there already some negotiation. We have been told by court by Tuesday we should be able to submit an understanding between the parties. If there is no understanding, then the court will proceed on 24th of October.
If it was up to you, would you want this man to be your governor next time around?
Of course. I can be able to give him my vote, but the larger people will need to decide. So even if I give him my vote and the people are saying no, or they are saying yes, and then it is irrelevant.
So he still gets your vote?
Most probably depending on how he behaves in between. Because it's all determined. It will be determined by its behavior.
Governor.
He need to convince me.
You and your pussy. We're going to take another break.
You don't use that in this forum.
No, it's okay.
I will invite you to the other forum.
And then we can use it there.
Yes.
Okay.
Right.
Gentlemen, we'll take another break, come back, and then we'll go to the audience. Let's ask them what they think of where this county is going, okay? Governor Ruto's Twitter handle is at Isaac Ruto Gov. The speaker's is GK at GK Courier. Mine is at Koinange Jeff. The hashtag we're using all night long is JKL on the road. JKL takes a break live from county number 36, Bomet County. We'll be back in a moment.